Hello everyone and welcome back. So, it is another day. We're going to get carried back on with the 320D. Time to finish up some suspension, get some exhaust clamps on. But before we do that, you might notice a serious amount of light coming from above my head, and it is not a halo of some sort. It's far from it. It is a bit of a garage upgrade. I decided to upgrade some light in here because it makes filming easier and working a lot easier, because it's the winter months and the sunlight's very poor in the UK, and also, yeah, it's better for your eyesight. Let's get back to work on the 3 Series. Let's grind that bolt off, get some suspension stuff done. Of course, we have to finish up the brakes. I want to just clean the little bits and pieces for the rear handbrake, and I got some new springs and some new hardware to locate our handbrake shoes back in place.
And at this point I had to bring out the angle grinder and actually cut off the bolts, locating the bottom bushing. They'd completely stripped out.
So I have eventually, after fighting for an absolute age, got the old mounting bush out. This thing is supposed to look like that. And yeah, I had to cut the bolts off from underneath, as you saw, and then prise it out with a pry bar, which was so much fun. The new one is supposed to look like this. I mean, that's a stark contrast. So yeah, new one's always better. And oh, there we go, new bolts as well. We'll pop on our new bump stops and everything for the springs. Get our new plates and cups in. These you always need to change in E91 because they will always fail and your shock will blow through and clatter around inside the cabin, which is never fun for anyone involved. So let's go shove this on the car, and you can come along and watch. Bottom shock mount lives. You have to put it in first at an angle so it drops into place. If you put the shock in first, you can't fit it down flat. It's coming, see, it won't fit out flat. It has to come out at an angle. And then you can put the screws in, and these use a, what is it, an E12? E12, yes. Alright, so first things first, we want to get our brand new bump stops and covers in place. Slide that sucker down and on. Ta-da! Then we have cup. Fantastic. There's a little rubber cover. That's going to go right on through the top. That's going to slide in the center. Little metal sleeve. Like so. And then from the top, it will be pretty much the reverse. That'll fit on, that'll go on the top, and then the brand new nut. So this bit here is what sits on the chassis. One more thing before, I've just cleaned the end here with the wire brush, just to remove any sort of rust and crud off it. And then I just want to give it just a small dab of grease, because I know I will be the next moron working on this car, and I do not want to be the one battling a rusted bolt. So there we go. Perfect.
Reassembly straightforward. We got to compress the shock, drop it into the bottom mount, and then when the shock raises back up, we got to gut it into place.
I needed to actually use a tiny smear of grease there to get this little rubber to seat without it deforming. And now that I did that and I used the jack to push the shock up in place, I could tighten the bolts at the bottom and at the top. So we've got our new fitted bolts, both sides, looking great.
So more weird shenanigans with the 320. I'm onto the brakes on the rear, and obviously I've got the old ones here. The new ones I'm just about ready to go put on. I do some measuring, and for some reason the discs themselves are 300mm. Great. The problem, for some reason, that only has an inner diameter of like 165mm for the rear brakes, for the handbrake, whereas that one's 190. So great to know. So I suppose I've got to send these ones back and get different ones. Just another delay to the build. And at the moment I'm using the new bleeder kit I've got to pressurize the reservoir, and then I'm going to go down below and bleed the clutch out, because at the moment I've kind of just got that much pedal travel. So not ideal, but hey, you're going to lose some pressure or some fluid when the car's kind of been apart for a while. So you know, that's how things go. Right, let's get that hooked up, get it bled, and pray I get a pedal, because apparently these are very, very annoying to bleed. So hopefully my new bleeder kit puts in some serious work. A lot of work done on the 320D. So, gearbox, clutch is finally bled. That was a horrible, horrible time from just constant air in the lines. It was a nightmare, but it's bled, it works, no weird noises. The only weird noise is the alternator making a grumbling sound. So, bearings, so we're going to swap the alternator out.
Plenty of hand waving, pointing at pulleys. Something there, something there. Honestly, I don't know what I'm going on about here. Oh, look, an alternator. It spins.
Well, it is another day and we have parts. I have the brand new alternator to replace that crusty thing. I've got some second-hand brackets for the heat shielding under the car, because that's very important. A lot of people say, yeah, leave it, but you don't want to leave that. I've also got a tool to remove the oil filter housing, because for some reason this one is wrenched down so incredibly hard I actually cannot get it off. So yeah, I kind of had to do my oil change and still run the old filter, but again, it was only for a warm-up period and to bleed the injector, so the old filter's not going to contaminate our oil. Calm down. Someone there is going to freak out. It's alright. But new discs have come in and they do fit. As you see, I've opened them both to check, and I have test fitted and they do work. Because I am now opening every part I get with this car, because I am so paranoid that something's not going to fit now, because after having two belts and these rear discs not fit, I'm just beyond paranoid now. So yeah, old discs I'm gonna have to sell somehow, because I can't get my money back for those. I can't return them, so whatever. And I've picked up some Genelite brake caliper paint in silver, so we go for an OEM look. I kind of really like the product, so that's why I'm going with it. I've kind of used their stuff in the past on the Supra, with the whole like refurb and stuff like that, so yeah, that's kind of why I'm going for it.
Right, reassembly straightforward enough. Put the bolts back in, tighten them up. Connect the cables. Hey, you can't really get it that wrong. I mean, it's the opposite of taking it out.
I've got the socket for this part of the belt, so I can move the tension out, get our belt up and over and into place. There we go. That's what I make sure before. All the teeth are sitting correctly there. Yes, cool. Just want to check it 3 times. I know you only need to do that when it's new, but I just like to make sure. Okay, this car is going to give me PTSD at this rate, because just
Another part, you won't believe this, is literally the oil filter itself. Wrong. So there's the old one. Here's our new one. And it is, I don't know if you can tell, maybe just a tad smaller. Just, you know, you versus the guy she tells you not to worry about kind of situation. Like, this car, for some reason, none of my other BMWs have I ever had a problem with getting the correct part number. Never. But this car, for some reason, I've also pulled off the rear calipers because I want to give them a bit of a refresh. So I want to take them to the club this evening, throw them in the sandblaster cabinet, just get all the grime and stuff off, just give them like a quick and dirty rebuild. Alright, onto the rear calipers. At this point I need to use the pry bar to actually push these rear pads out of the carrier. As you can see, they are rusted in place. That's the front one. And then I can move on to the rear. The rears are actually held in with a clip at the back, which fits into the piston of the caliper itself. You can actually have a look and see the metal tab at the back there. Now I have to remove the carrier itself. And finally rewind the piston. So this way, when I go and rebuild the entire system, I know that I can drop the new rebuilt caliper in place and I don't have to worry about scratching it. Let's head on over to the club, get this blasted. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these little clips as well and this bracket for the RX-8. This is a little halfway through the shop blasting. Look at that before and after already. That's going to be amazing. Carriers, clips, and bracket for the RX-8 for one of the oil coolers because the current bracket is rusted so badly I wouldn't even trust it. Yeah, I trust it as much as don't worry, he's just a friend. Anyway, so I'm going to hit these with some rust remover here from Genelite that I've used before. And I find it's really good to treat the metal before I end up going painting, because even though we've got everything shot blasted, we've got these little like pitting areas here where you won't be able to clean 100% of the metal. So we're going to go ahead, treat it, and actually remove the rust, because that's a rust remover, not a treater. There's the difference between the two. So let's go ahead, coat these so they're protected, and then we can go ahead and paint them. I think caliper paint will work well on the arms. Hey, I'm going to try it anyway. Why not? Now that the Genelite rust remover's done its work and actually worked into the pores of the metal, we can go ahead, mask everything off, and paint it with confidence, knowing that we're not going to have any rust seeping through on our brake calipers. Alright, so we've got things all masked up, and what I want to quickly do is just heat the metal, just because it is seriously cold, and for the paint to work we want to just make sure it's a little warm. So I'm just going to hook this up on some cable ties. So let's get this done. Oh, nice. Smoky. It hasn't come through. It's all good. And then we'll take this outside to the paint booth, because I don't want to spray it in the garage, because it's just going to get silver like everywhere. As you can see, this is looking absolutely fantastic. What a wonderful finish on. Bring everything back to OEM. So this is them after a second coat. I noticed there were just a few spots I missed the other day, or just didn't get enough of a coat on. So I've gone through and given everything a good second coat. And yeah, I'm going to say that's an absolute perfect result. We are back to nice OEM silver. Yeah, that Genelite really does the job. You join me
taking off the front discs, and they don't look so good. But we're going to give this little guy a try and see if that solves our audio issues, because the wind is terrible again. We got some storm on the way, so yay. So let's see how that works. Give our audio a try and go from there. So, disc stuck. I should be able to rotate that. It's got a small lip on it, not much, but hey. Pads, plenty of life left on them. We might just have a problem where it's just the rust binding everything up here on the caliper itself, but we'll see how freely the piston moves and stuff as well. But other than that, let's get this off and see what we're dealing with. Kind of used to competing with the background noise. Brace yourselves. Oh, there we go. Don't worry, I'll soften that in post, because yeah, that will destroy anyone's ears listening to that. Oh man, oh, that is quite stuck on there. Let's go through there, and then as soon as we're ready, up around there. Oh, there we go. So, you forget how much heavier these things are when you're trying to just lift them by a tiny cable tie. Gotta put a lot more grip into it. Alright, cable tie. Work hard, little buddy. Work hard. Oof. This poor thing hasn't spun in a while. Well, a wheel bearing doesn't seem to make any noise, which is a plus. And look, we got a little loose brake shield. Let's fix that now. Let's try get that locating screw off. Suppose not. Try just shock it a bit. There we go. And out she comes. Don't want to force these things, because if you round it, you're in for a bad time.
You're gonna have a bad time.
That's why I wanted the screwdriver bit. So I don't have to do that, but not too bad. Oh, man, that was all tough. Still fits with the original. Space this off. Ta-da! Let's do the other one. That rubbish off. I want the big one. Isn't that a line from a movie or something?
I want the big one.
Oh, secured on. There we go. I am one step forward, two steps back. I was getting the other brake disc off and getting things sorted there, getting the caliper off, and I decided let's give the wheel a spin. That's where my problems began, because that wheel bearing is toast. So I've had to take the whole hub off. And there's still a shock attached to it because this bolt is seized. So, yeah.
The old impact to the rescue. I decided let's spray with a bit more WD-40 and go at it again. Use the impact to wound the bolt out. Used our little chisel here to smack it onto the hammer, just to spread this enough so we can pull the shock out. After that, hit these with the impact, and they're all out. So we can now get this off. Oh, there you go. Simple as that. And order a new wheel bearing. Can you hear that? Quite bad. Oh hey, look, a part number. So I can order the right one. I'm so tired of the wrong parts arriving. So I'm gonna literally order this right now so it gets here as soon as, and then yeah, so I'm gonna carry on with the brakes now, like my original plan was, and go refurb them. Does this new oil filter actually fit? So, it's our part number, and here's our old one, and our new one. Well, well, well. We have a match, finally. But, yeah. Damn you, car. Giving me PTSD with these part numbers. Weird view, but as you can see in there, we've got that little hole down there that this needs to match up with. So let's get our filter in. Rotate it. Oh, there we go. You can kind of feel it fit into place, and then there we go. Then we can grab our housing with the new O-ring. I'll need 2 hands for this. Right, now filter changed. Some parts have arrived, and I'm going to speed run through this because I feel this video is going on long enough. So, new wheel bearing, and it is whisper quiet that way. Again, like I said, that only fits one way. We've got our new bolts. Go ahead, pop these in. Then we'll start by putting the sensor back in, the shock, etc. And yeah, shove this back in the car. I've got the suspension all put back together. So as you see, we've got our new wheel bearing there, and some wind noise because I don't have the lapel mic on. I need to secure this bracket, get the bolt there, put the bolt on there, and yeah. But besides that, I am busy putting the brakes back together, and as you see, boy did they look great, all refurbed. I just gotta put that one together, and the rears as well, but that's one of the front calipers, all done, and that, yeah, that is so much better than they were. I mean, that is just a day and night difference. That'll definitely stop our brake binding for sure. And onto the rear calipers. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this little sucker back in place, and ooh, I need to get the disc first. Let's actually go do that. Ooh, looking so good. Got our discs that actually fit this time around, unlike those ones, which is just so wonderful. I mean, look at these. Man, I'm really stoked with how those came out. Again, just Genelite, brake paint. Oh man, just does the job. I cannot fault that at all. Right, now to make the rest of this look new. It's unfortunately one thing Genelite can't do is refurb brake discs. If they could, boy, I'd buy it. And with that, the 320D build is done. I want to thank you all for coming along on this adventure with me, learning how to do a timing chain on the car. That was the first on one of these N47s, but it's done, it works. It's ready for an MOT. I'll get that done and we'll do a short little update video for that. But besides that, it's done. It's time for something new. It's time to maybe finally get the Supra back on the road, and maybe something else, maybe something new. Who knows? I look forward to seeing where we go with this, and I hope you guys too. So, as
as per normal, you guys stay awesome, and I'll see you next time.